Hello friends. So today we are starting with a new topic. I'll be covering all the major concepts related to the topic joint products and byproducts. You need to understand the meaning of both joint products and byproducts. Then the topics which are to be covered in this, some decision making related topics, whether a product should be sold at split off point or processed further. Then second topic will be methods of apportionment of joint cost on joint products, and thirdly treatment of byproducts. That is all. That is what we need to understand in this topic, and then plenty of questions we can solve for these concepts. Let us first understand the meaning of joint product and byproduct. Whatever is written there, I'll go through that. First, understand what is joint product and what is byproduct, and what is the difference between the two. Now, when from a single input lots of outputs come, those outputs are either joint products or some of them are joint products while some of them are byproducts. If the output getting created has relatively equal importance or significance, then it is joint product. If the output getting created does not have much significance, but because we have done processing and the product got produced and it is usable or sellable, we call it byproduct. It is a product we are not intending to make, but in the course of processing, it gets created. So it becomes a product which is not having significant importance as the other products. That product is called byproduct. I'll start from this text. It is giving you a very good example to begin with. Let us say we go to a refinery. In refinery, the input of processing is crude oil. We put crude oil into the vessels. We do the processing, we heat at a particular temperature or whatever we do. I don't know exactly what they do. Once the processing is completed, what we are getting? Multiple products. We get their petrol, we get their diesel, LPG, CNG, PNG. They are all our main products or joint products. These all names that I have taken, they are all joint products. Now, after these products have been removed, there is some leftover. The leftover is carbon remnants. Carbon remnants. The black portion which is left there, carbon remnants. Now, those carbon remnants are used to create lubricants. Lubricant is another sellable product that you will get in the oil industry. Now, that is a sellable product. It is very costly when you buy it, but still it is created out of byproduct called carbon remnants. They don't intend to create carbon remnants. Their budgets are not based on how much carbon remnants will be created. No. But in the course of processing, they will surely get carbon remnants. Those remnants are called byproduct. So this very important thing to note, the carbon remnants, they are byproduct of this process. In all industries, when processing is done, there are few main products called joint products and few scrap type products called byproducts. So this is one process which helps you understand the difference between joint product and byproduct. Joint product is product of more importance to the entity. Byproduct is product of least importance, but because it gets created, they will sell it or use it further so that they can earn some additional revenue. So treatment of byproduct is one topic we'll do in the end, but that is something not that important. In theory, it comes for 3 marks many times. But major chapter is based on joint products. Now, 2 issues that I will like to deal. One is decision making. While explaining decision making, I'll explain you many terms which will be useful in second topic also, which is apportionment of joint cost. Think about the problem here. The input crude oil had one cost, labor was incurred, overheads were incurred, collective cost, joint cost is incurred, but there are multiple products. Now, how to apportion that joint cost on all the products? How much did petrol cost, diesel cost, LPG cost, CNG cost, PNG cost? I need to know their separate cost. So I apply the methods of apportionment of joint cost, and you will be studying 8 of such methods. So many methods, many of them asked in exam also. Very, very important topic you are doing in any way. Before I reach there, I am on to decision making. So try to understand this decision making concept that I'll take you through. Now, few terms I'll explain while explaining this decision making. What is the problem? The problem is whether to sell the product at split off point or process further. Try to understand meaning of these terms. Which terms? Split off point and process further. They are the 2 options in my decision. Now simply, I put crude oil into vessel. At some point of time, I'll be able to get petrol, diesel, CNG, PNG. That is called separation point or split off point. Split off point has another name which I have named already here. Split off point or separation point. Now, taking an example here, let us say petrol can be sold in market at 70 per liter. Petrol can be sold in market at 70 per liter. There is an option to further refine. Option 1 is sell at 70 per liter. Second option, further refine into better brand. The brands in market, speed brand. Now, what will that do to your car? It will improve the mileage. For that, what company need to do? Company need to process that petrol into speed category. They have to further refine the impurities so that efficiency of the petrol increases. They will have to spend more money, and after that they will be able to get this speed brand. Do they sell speed brand at 70 per liter? No. They will sell at higher rate. Let us say it is 80 per liter. Further refine speed brand and sell at 80 per liter. Normal petrol can be sold at 70 per liter. If they further refine and convert into speed brand, it can be sold at 80 per liter. How much is increase in revenue? 10 rupees. Assuming there is no loss of petrol, no normal loss included in that. Same 1 liter will remain 1 liter. Instead of 70, they are getting 80. Increase in revenue is 10. If cost of further processing is less than 10, they must sell speed brand. If cost of further processing is 12 rupees, then certainly why to incur 2 rupees loss? Sell simple petrol. Don't think about speed category petrol. The decision making is complete. This is what you are going to do in many questions in one part, decision making. Many questions will ask you, should they sell at split off point or process further and sell at higher price? What you will check? Ultimate sales revenue. USV. New terms are coming now. Concentrate on this. Focus on the concepts. Ultimate sales revenue. Ultimate sale value, which is 80 per liter in my example, less sale value at split off point. Sale value at split off point, which is rupees 70 per liter in my example. After subtracting, what do you get? The difference is called incremental revenue due to further processing. Incremental revenue due to further processing. In my example, it is 10 rupees. Less FPC, new term, full form, further processing cost. Further processing cost. In my example, it was, in first example, it was like 8 per liter. In second example, it was 12 per liter. If it is 12, my answer will be negative. If it is 8, my answer will be positive. The answer is called NIR. NIR means net incremental revenue. If it is positive, I must process further. If answer is negative, I must sell at split off point. You can see here it has been performed for you. USV 80, sale value split of 70. This table you will be making in every question wherever there is decision making. Increase in revenue due to further processing 10. If FPC is 9, it is positive 1. As NIR is positive, I must process further. What I'll do, I'll repeat all terms that I've done on this side. Number 1 term, separation point, also called split off point. Number 2, further processing. Number 3, USV. Number 4, sale value at split off point. Number 5, increase in revenue due to further processing. FPC, further processing cost. NIR, I'm naming them. USV is ultimate sale value. This is 3 minus 4, increase in revenue due to further processing. FPC is further processing cost. This is net incremental revenue. This is 5 minus 6. If NIR is positive, sell after further processing. If NIR is negative, sell at split off point. If NIR is 0, then do whatever. There is no change. You don't get extra benefit due to further processing, but you also don't get any loss. So it's up to you. You can do either way. You can sell after processing or sell at split off point in that case if NIR is 0. If positive, must sell after further processing. If negative, must sell at split off point. No need to process further. Processing cost me 12 and revenue is increasing by 10. Better to sell at split off point. Don't process further. So this is decision making that we will be doing in many questions. That is the first part of the topic. The table will be like this only. From this to this. This is a table you will be making from 3 to 7. I hope this much is clear. In questions you will get it quite a lot. So there you will be practicing it further. Reaching second topic of this chapter. Apportionment of joint cost to joint products. I told you, you have spent so many expenses, material, labor, overhead. They all comprise, including crude oil, they are all comprise joint cost. What I have got here is joint cost. I need to put this joint cost into various products. Petrol, diesel, LPG, PNG, CNG, whatever products are there, I want to put some cost there. You might be deciding selling price based on cost plus profit margin. Unless you know the cost, you will not be able to get the selling price. So you want to apportion the cost. There are many methods. In starting, you will be getting some very, very bad methods. Starts with physical units method. Physical unit method is very easy, very bakwas. This is something never recommended to be done, but if question asks you, you will do it. What happens in physical units method? Let us see. My joint cost is rupees 1 lakh. And I am getting 4 products: petrol, diesel, CNG, LPG, whatever. I am getting this 200 liter, 300 liter, 400 liter and 100 liter. Total of 1000 liter. Physical unit method say whatever production you make at separation point, in the ratio of that quantity, put the joint cost. Apportion the joint cost in the ratio of physical units produced at the point of separation. So if I do it 1 lakh in this ratio, what I am getting? 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 10,000. This is the answer. 1 lakh has been distributed into 4 on the basis of physical units produced. Now it is full of limitations. Number 1, value of outputs ignored. We did not consider value of any output. the rate of diesel, petrol, CNG and LPG in market per liter will be different. When it is different, how can you compare them? Understand one example. Another example. I take impure gold, 1 liter. In this, I mix some chemical, 9 liter, so that impurities are removed. What I am getting? 9.5 liter of impure gold, impurities, and half liter pure gold. Now, whatever joint cost is there, crores of joint cost, I am going to apportion 95% to the impurities and 5% to pure gold. Value of pure gold is crores. Value of impurities is very less. Is this justified? The physical unit method is never justified. Not good. If the outputs produced are of almost the same value, then the method can be applied. But otherwise, method is not great because it ignores the value of outputs. That is point number 1. Second point, cannot apply if units of measurement are different for different products. If one thing is in kg, other is in liter, another in meter, how to add, how to put the ratio? The ratio of liter and meter will not be good. So there you cannot apply the method at all, because unable to get the ratio of different units of measurement. Unit of measurement has to be compulsorily same. Despite LPG and CNG being gases, I took them in liters. If I don't take them in liter, I cannot apply the method at all. So method is what? As I said, I get back to my words. Very bakwas. This method is very bakwas. Bakwas means useless, totally useless method. Why we study? Because if question will ask, we will apply. We will never recommend this method. Second method, sale value at separation point. When they were separated, get their selling value. Selling price multiplied by quantity. Sale value. This method I have written there, it is the best method. Best method is sale value at separation point. This is the best method. The upper method was bakwas method. Now if unit of measurement are different, does not matter in second method. Rate per kg will be multiplied by kgs, rate per liter will be multiplied by liters, so we'll be getting an amount. Amount ratio can be easily just. Third method. Third method is just theoretical method. It is exactly same as first method, same limitation, everything same, only presentation is different. It is average cost method. Average cost method. Now in this, what we do, instead of putting in ratio, we compute average joint cost per unit of output. Take an example. Joint cost 1 lakh. ABC are 3 products produced, 5,000, 3,000, 2,000, 10,000 units. If I had to apply ratio method, physical unit method, the first method, I'll put 5 ratio 3 ratio 2, I'll get 50,000, 30,000, 20,000. If I have to apply third method, what I do, I calculate average joint cost per unit. Total units and total joint cost, they are related. 1 lakh divided by 10,000, 10 per unit, applied on units produced. You get same answers. Answer will not be different, limitations will not be different. Did not consider value of output, and if units of measurement are not same, you cannot get total production at all. One is in kg, one in liter, one in meter, you can't get the total output at all. So same problems, same consequences, same results. Method 1, method 3, don't apply them unless question says. They are easy but bakwas methods, useless methods. I hope 3 methods are clear. Next, USV method. I've told you the meaning of USV while explaining the decision. Ultimately, at what rate it will be sold, into what quantity will be sold. Ultimately means after further processing. So what is this? This is sale value after further processing. It is also called final sale value method. Finally, at what amount will this be sold is what I am looking for. Finally, at what amount it will be sold. Now, all the products which can be processed further, they will have a final sale value. Quantity may change, selling price may change. The multiplication will give you ultimate sale value. There will be few products which cannot be processed further. Their sale value at split off will be USV also. The products which cannot be processed further, their sale value at split off will be equal to ultimate sale value also. So this is what you will be getting, ratio of that. This method is bad. Why bad? Joint cost you are apportioning in the ratio of ultimate sale value, which can be increased due to further processing cost. I buy 2 types of clothes. On one cloth, I do embroidery with the thread. On other cloth, I get the embroidery done with jewels, gold, diamond, silver. Obviously, ultimate sale value of second cloth will be much more than first cloth. But why joint cost should be shared in that ratio? Because till they were separated, equal cost was incurred. So it is unjustified method, not greatest of the methods. Next one is the improvisation on this. Next one is very good method. I have called 2 methods good so far. One was sale value at split off point. Another is NRV. When you are processing further, try to calculate a net realizable value. New term comes to your picture. What is this NRV? It is USV minus FPC. In my earlier example, on the cloth where I did embroidery with thread, lower ultimate sale value, lesser cost deducted. In second cloth, high USV, but I deduct a high FPC also. In further processing cost, there will be cost of gold, silver, diamonds. So net is what I am going to consider. Ultimate sale value minus further processing cost. In this ratio, the joint cost can be apportioned. Again, a product which cannot be processed further has to be sold at split off. Sale value at split off will be NRV also, because ultimate sale value is same and FPC will be 0 in that product. So this is what will give you net realizable value method. I hope this much is clear. I repeat all the 5 so far. Physical units method, ratio of units which were produced at the point of split off. After processing does not matter at all in this. Bad method, bakwas method. Sale value at split off, very good method. Default method, important method. Average method, rarely it comes. It is same as first, presentation is different. Compute total cost divided by total units at split off. Per unit, apply on units at split off. Number 4, USV, final sale value, ultimate sale value. Compute ultimate sale revenue from each product. Put the ratio of that. Something can't be processed further, sale value at split off will be same as USV. Better method there, NRV, net realizable value, USV minus FPC. Ultimate sale value minus further processing cost. Higher FPC, higher USV. From there you will be getting the NRV. Number 6. Reverse cost method, it can be applied in specific situation. The important condition is there. When profit margins on each product are given, you are given 3-4 products, you are given profit margin percentages earned on them. So we make a table like this, important table. Cannot be applied otherwise. The condition must be fulfilled. When profit margins are given, then only think of applying this method. We start with ultimate sale value. This is ABCD 4 products. Ultimate sale value of all 4 less profit. Profit percentages are given, on sale we apply. Net profit ratio is given on sale. So on sale, I am going to deduct profit. What I get? Total cost. Less FPC. FPC will be known. If some product is sold at split off point, FPC will be 0. Once I deduct, I will get what? Important. Ratio in which joint cost will be shared. This table gives me ratio in which total joint cost will be shared. So I get the apportionment on its own. If total of this 4 figures is equal to the joint cost given, then that is the answer. But otherwise, it is a ratio in which joint cost will be shared. Number 7. It is improvement over the 6th method. This is again important. In exam it comes, it makes the question lengthy, but is very interesting. It is not difficult, it is interesting, you need to understand. Question says constant GP margin method. Does not give you GP rate or profit percentages. It says there are 3 products, 4 products, 5 products, all are having constant GP margin. You need to compute on your own how much is the constant GP margin. So first table relates to that computation. We compute GP margin. This is the first step to apply. Overall USV means ultimate sale value of product 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add them. Total. I'll get easily. Less overall FPC. FPC of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something sold at split off, FPC is 0. Add them. Total FPC. If you deduct, you get overall NRV. Important is joint cost. Joint cost is known overall. I want to split it into product by product, but total is known. So I can deduct overall joint cost. What I'll get? Overall GP. Now this is A, this is B. A divided by B into 100 is overall GP rate. GP rate is GP by sale into 100. Overall GP of the company divided by overall ultimate sale value into 100. I'll get overall GP rate. That is the first thing to calculate. Now it is same as method number 6. GP rate you have got. Now you apply this table. USV minus profit. Profit at what rate? Overall GP rate, which is same for every product. Total cost, FPC, and you will get the ratio in which joint cost is to be shared. This is method number 7. Very important from exam point of view. Eighth method is again not that great method, but because it is given, that's why we are doing marginal method or contribution method. Many of you have already done marginal costing. Those who have not done will be doing later in the techniques of costing. Marginal method is simply based on marginal costing concept of contribution. It simply says, first pick out variable joint cost, put it in the ratio of physical unit of each product, then compute contribution for each product. Fixed joint cost, I'm not saying fixed cost all of them, I'm saying fixed joint cost must be shared in the ratio of product wise contribution. That will make the apportionment. So it is written there, you can read from here. Can be applied only if joint cost has been classified as variable joint cost and fixed cost joint cost. Important condition. If this condition is not fulfilled, you cannot apply this method. So 95% questions you can't apply this method because this condition is not fulfilled. I should be having variable joint cost and fixed joint cost. Then I can apply this. First apportion variable joint cost in the ratio of physical unit produced for each product. Then I compute contribution. Fixed joint cost is put in the ratio of this product wise contribution. So joint cost I'll be able to get. Now last thing here I'm doing is very important for you to follow. Question many times ask you computation of product wise GP rates. You must note all these tables. They are very important for some presentation purpose also, for solving questions also. It will be very helpful. Now GP rate table I just made earlier in method number 7. You can see here GP rate table. Same GP rate table comes in end. But this is product wise, that was overall. That is the only difference. USV minus FPC, I get NRV, minus joint cost, I get GP. GP divided by USV into 100 is GP rate. Question says, apply 3 methods. Any 3 methods question will ask. And then he says, compute GP rate under each method for each product. He is asking 9 GP rates. If there are 3 products. 3 products, 3 methods each, different GP rate. And only thing which will create difference is joint cost. USV same, FPC same, NRV same in all 3 methods. But joint cost apportionment is different as per method. So GP will be different, GP rate will be different. If something comes negative, it is gross loss. Negative is gross loss. Gross loss ratio you will be writing. There are no comments based on this apportionment or GP rate. Comments are only in decision making, whether to sell at split top point or process further. These are all the concepts which relate to joint products. The byproduct treatment will do separately later on. Now reaching some questions on joint and byproducts. I am looking at illustration of your ICI module. Looking at illustration number 1 there. It gives me some input 5,000 tons of coal at the rate of 1100 per ton. So first thing I want to find always is total joint cost. Total joint cost. He is only giving me coal 5,000 tons at the rate of 1100 per ton. what I will get 55 lakh. Rupees 55 lakh is the joint cost. Now it is to be done on the basis of physical units method. Question says physical units method. They are making 4 different products: coke, not coal, coke 3500 tons, tar 1200 tons, sulfate of ammonia, whatever, 52 tons, benzol 48 tons. If I add them all, the total is 4800 tons. Means balance is a loss. You had input of 5000, output is 4800, 200 ton is loss. I'm not going to deal with loss at all. I'm not going to do the way your institute module is doing. I'm simply going to put rupees 55 lakh in this ratio. So 55 lakh in 35 ratio, 12 ratio, 5.2 ratio, 4.8. That will be my answer of apportionment. So what I can do, 55 lakh divided by 4800 multiplied by 3500, I am getting is 4010,416.67. 1200 if I multiply with, I get 1375000, 13,75,000. 52 makes 59,583.33 and 48 makes 55,000 rupees. This total is 55 lakh. So what I am getting is 40 lakh 10,416 for coke, 13 lakh 75,000 for tar, 59,583.33 for sulfate of ammonia, and benzol I am getting is 55. This is the exact answer. Your institute module does some problems. Problems are like approximation. They are doing wrongly the approximation in ratio. My ratio approximation is perfect. This is what you are going to get the ultimate answer. This was illustration number 1. Reaching second illustration, the question says use average joint cost method. Average joint cost method. As I said, the results and drawbacks of this method are same as physical units method. It is as useless method as a physical units method, but because question is wanting you to use, you are using it. So what do we do in this method? We first compute average joint cost per unit as total joint cost divided by total units produced. Add split off or add separation. Once I get average cost per unit, I'll apply on all units, I'll get the answer there. So total joint cost, another name there is pre-separation joint cost. One and same thing. Pre-separation is all joint cost. Total joint cost given rupees 60,000. Total production units 1,000. Average joint cost per unit 60,000 divided by 1000. Rupees 60 per unit. Rupees 60 per unit. For A product, 500 units multiplied by 60 per unit. For B product, 200 units, 60 per unit. C product, 300 units, 60 per unit. 30,000, 12,000, 18,000 in rupees. This is the answer. Your institute module might be presenting in a different manner, but this is the perfect way of doing. 30,000, 12,000, 18,000 is the answer of this question. The aggregate is 60,000 obviously. That is a pre-separation joint cost that I wanted to distribute in ABC product. This was illustration number 2. The next illustration is illustration number 3. It requires me to use contribution margin method. It is written on the top. What is the condition of applying this method? You should be having fixed joint cost and variable joint cost separately. You are given in question, if you note there, joint cost heading, under that marginal cost is another name of variable cost. Joint cost, marginal is variable and then is fixed. We need to use them separately. What was the trick? Step 1 was variable joint cost put on the basis of units. You get separation there, you get the apportionment easily using physical units. Once you get there, make a table to calculate contribution from each product. The ratio of contribution of each product will be used for fixed joint cost, and thereby you get all the apportionment. So I do it step by step. First is analysis for variable joint cost. Total variable joint cost it is given rupees 4,400. Marginal cost is another name for variable cost. So don't get confused in that part. To be apportioned in physical units ratio, that is 100:120 for A and B. For A product, 4,400 into 100 divided by 220. For B product, 4,400 into 120 divided by 220. So this is rupees 2,000. This is rupees 2,400, which makes total of 4,400. So variable cost has been apportioned. Second table I make computation of contribution margins of each product. Computation of contribution margins of each product. Product wise table A and B. Sales revenue. It was 100 into 60, 6,000. 120 into 30, 3600. Less variable joint cost. Refer first analysis. I computed in first analysis 2000 and 2400. By deducting, I get contribution 4800. No, it is 1200. Ratio of contribution 4000 ratio 1200. Ten ratio 3 I can say. Fixed joint cost rupees 3900 must be apportioned in ratio of contribution 10 ratio 3 for A and B. A's share 10 by 13 into 3900, 3000. B's share 3 by 13 into 3900. This is 900. Total apportionment answer. Must make this summary also. Variable joint cost, fixed joint cost, A and B. The fixed we computed 3000 and 900. The variable we computed earlier 2000 and 2400. So my answer is going to be total apportionment, that is 5000 and 3300. This is the ultimate answer that you are going to get in this illustration number